Joining me to discuss a whole lot from the Politico newsroom in Arlington, Virginia, are Playbook co-authors Anna Palmer, easily the finest North Dakotan who joins us here on the program, and Jake Sherman, the Pops Mensa Bonsu of political reporters. Welcome to you both. Mentioned Donald Trump there, again, set to give what we are told is a big economic policy speech in Detroit today. If nothing else, probably looking to turn the corner after a very rocky week this past week. What do you two expect to hear from Donald Trump today?
I think we expect to hear him kind of lay the table out, right? I mean, he's going to set the table for the next couple of months. Trump's advisors last night in our conversations with them said that they are trying to paint Hillary Clinton as a politician of yesteryear, right? Somebody who's taking old policies, old worn Democratic policies, putting them out during the election. And Trump, they're trying to position him as the change agent.
Yeah, and he's also going to lay some actual specifics out there, some meat on the bone. Oftentimes he kind of goes on riffs on the campaign trail, but he's going to be talking about energy policy platform, about stopping any kind of agency regulations, and kind of building out his economic message that they plan on trying to do for the next several weeks.
But Josh, I think the big question is whether Trump could keep this going. I mean, when he's on stage, when he's reading from a teleprompter, when he's reading from a script, he's fine. But then, the next day he's on the trail and he's talking about one of his enemies or the media, the New York Times, CNN. So, I mean, we'll
message
see,
discipline.
right? We'll see if he can stick to this message in the coming days.
But it speaks to when he strays off message. It's why so many Republican donors are said to be awfully worried about what they see. And it perhaps speaks to the defections that we are seeing from the GOP to the side of Hillary Clinton. We saw two more of them, the former Republican governor of Michigan and a former staffer of the George W. Bush White House. What is the cumulative effect of the defections to this point?
I mean, I think this is really a drumbeat that Hillary Clinton is trying to kind of every other day or so have another big name. We wrote in Playbook Scoop today that there's going to be an organization that they're going to be announcing kind of the Hillary's Republicans for Hillary later this week. I think what it does is it gives pause to other Republicans, especially as his campaign is really looking to try to secure some of these kind of historical major Republican donors that he's going to need on his side.
And Josh, the bigger issue is Hillary Clinton is trying to make this campaign not a partisan decision, not a partisan choice. She's trying to frame this campaign as being a safe choice in Hillary Clinton, someone who's responsible, who understands the issues at hand, versus someone who's choosing Donald Trump is voting for someone erratic, irresponsible, and you can't give this guy the nuclear codes.
There has been a lot of talk then with regard to the ongoing issues between the House Speaker Paul Ryan and Donald Trump. For months now, one could argue, it would seem that the Speaker's concerns have only been increasing with regard to losing congressional majorities. It did sort of come to a head with the advent of Donald Trump's appearance in Wisconsin, where he finally did offer perhaps as tepid an endorsement of Paul Ryan as Paul Ryan had previously offered of his. What then to make of where the two men sit against the greater backdrop of party unity?
I think the big issue for Paul Ryan is keeping the majority.
Right.
And we'd like to talk here in Roslyn about putting a politician on truth serum. If you put Paul Ryan on truth serum, he would probably tell you that he needs to keep his majority and is his eye on 2020. He himself is a national politician and harbors some sort of ambition for public office, for the presidency, for the White House down the road. And Paul Ryan has built a career on being a policy wonk and endorsing someone who basically doesn't believe in Republican orthodoxy and Donald Trump is problematic for him.
Well, and I think he has much said in an interview today in the Post, kind of laying this out about how he is not, I wouldn't say nervous, but he's definitely watching very closely to make sure that he is able to try to keep the House Republican majority, that is the priority. That's what he's telling donors. He spent a ton of time raising money to try to make sure that they have all of the infrastructure and the funds that they're going to need come November.
And hearken the disastrous reference to the blank check that really helped do win Bob Dole's campaign back in 1996. Again, I think I do agree. I think the tea leaves are being read. I do want to quickly ask you about something that confounded our very own Bob Schieffer earlier today. If not the endorsement, certainly the rallying cry on behalf of Donald Trump from George P. Bush, the son of Jeb Bush. if nothing else, what do you make of the conversation around the Bush dinner table this past weekend?
I think that George P. Bush wants to run for governor of Texas,
Yeah.
and he's looking at a Republican electorate that just, a lot of voters in Texas voted for Donald Trump. So I don't think it's terribly complicated. Do you agree?
I also would just say, I think there's often times where families and people disagree within the Republican Party about that. When we talk to Republicans, sometimes they say it's better to stay with Donald Trump than go for Hillary. That there's a conversation that the Republican Party needs to be having right now, and to be a part of that, you need to kind of stay with where the actual party is. And so I think it is much more about his own personal ambition in terms of maybe also where he sees the Republican Party going in the future than any kind of big feud within the family.